Hello everyone, and thank you for the invitation. I'd like to share some reflections on how Europe understands and responds to housing insecurity and homelessness, framed by the Ethos philosophy developed by FEANZA and enriched by my personal experience from the FEANZA Forum 2025, which we proudly hosted in Athens earlier this year. The forum was a remarkable gathering of over 400 participants, experts, practitioners, and most importantly, people with lived experience of homelessness. And what struck me most was that their voices, often unheard, were placed right at the heart of the conversation. Their stories and insights reminded me that homelessness isn't just a policy issue or statistical problem. It's deeply personal, affecting real lives, and those lives are filled with hopes, with fears, but foremost with dignity. At the core of the discussion is always the ethos typology, which is in some way Europe's shared language on homelessness and housing exclusion, which FEANZA developed. Before ethos, each country used to speak its own language, making it hard to compare data or learn from each other's practice. Ethos defines home through three essential dimensions: physical, having a safe, habitable place to live; social, being part of a community where privacy and relationships matter; and legal, having secure tenure and protection from eviction. It also groups housing situations into four categories: rooflessness, which means sleeping rough with no shelter; houselessness, involving temporary accommodation like shelters or hostels; insecure housing without legal security or risk of eviction; and last but not least, inadequate housing unfit for living. Ethos goes beyond classification. It guides governments, NGOs, and researchers in gathering comparable data and designing effective policies. Countries like Finland, Portugal, and Ireland, for example, have aligned their national statistics with ethos, enabling better monitoring of progress and policy impact. Let me share some inspiring examples from Europe that demonstrate how housing supported by rights and services truly end homelessness. In Finland, the Housing First program pioneered a revolutionary approach. Launched in 2008, this program provides permanent housing immediately, without preconditions like sobriety or employment. People are trusted with a secure permanent tenancy first, supported by voluntary social and medical services as needed. The results have been astounding, with over 80% of participants staying housed long term. Finland treats homelessness as a systemic failure, not an individual one, emphasizing dignity, stability, and real choices. Portugal's Emo Casa project in Lisbon is also shining as a beacon of success. Starting in 2013, is one of Lisbon's oldest neighborhoods, and it focused on renting and renovating homes for people experiencing homelessness. This effort was bolstered by strong partnerships between NGOs, city government, and social services. The project achieved an amazing 90% tenancy retention and helped participants reconnect with families and access essential documentation, proving that a stable home opens doors to rebuilding lives. Ireland's Empty Homes initiative approaches the problem from a different angle by tackling the paradox of homelessness amid vacant housing stock. What means is, through renovating and repurposing empty properties into social housing, Ireland addresses urgent needs with revitalizing communities. Supported by charities and public funding, this initiative even introduced dedicated empty home officers in local authorities to coordinate these efforts, embodying community-based practical solutions. These programs brought the themes we discussed at the FEANZA Forum into sharp focus. Emergency shelters, while necessary, are often not enough. Housing costs continue to rise against static incomes. Renovictions, as they are named, push vulnerable residents out when energy retrofits increase rents. And crucially, political will is needed to invest deeply in social housing as a human right. Hosting the forum in Athens felt deeply symbolic to me because it highlighted not only Greece's ongoing challenges with limited public housing and fragmented services, but also its growing determination to stay engaged in Europe's shared mission to end homelessness. One of the most powerful lessons for me was how much the solutions rely on centeredness around people's lived realities, because, I repeat, housing is not just a roof. It's legal security, social connection, and a foundation for dignity is what it should be. This perspective, rooted in the Ethos framework, challenges all of us to see homelessness as a shared responsibility that requires coordinated policy action, sufficient funding, and heartfelt compassion. And now, I want to make a call to action for all of you watching this webinar. Ending homelessness requires more than good policies. It demands active and persistent engagement from each one of us. I urge you to remain critically aware when you hear about policy making or legislation that claims to solve homelessness but falls short of including the most vulnerable. Exercise your critical thinking and judgment. Question whether these policies truly provide housing, security, dignity, and support to everyone in need. Remain alert and committed to being a voice for those who cannot be heard. Support the organizations and movements working on the front lines. Advocate bravely for change in your communities. Together, by sharing knowledge, pushing for rights-based approaches, and holding decision makers accountable, we can continue moving towards a Europe where no one is left without a home. To conclude, ending homelessness in Europe is not just a distant ideal. It is a choice that with our collective power we can make real. It requires collaboration, funding, empathy, and above all, action from all sectors of society, including you. Thank you for standing with us in this vital fight. Everyone deserves a place to call home. Thank you.